What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is Jackie. I actually had to drive 2 hours just to find a theater that even had this film. Sometimes it's such a pain in the ass with these type of films that only are released in, select theaters. But anyway, Jackie is a biographical drama film that was directed by Pablo Larrain and primarily follows former First Lady Jackie Kennedy, played by Natalie Portman, in the year 1963 after her husband, President John F. Kennedy, was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. After the death of her husband, Jackie attempts to fight through her overwhelming grief and pain in an attempt to make sure her husband is remembered as the great man she and many others believed him to be, while she also attempts to console her two young children and regain her faith. And the rest of the film is spent watching Jackie answer questions in a magazine interview post-JFK assassination, while we also document the difference in Jackie's behavior and overall demeanor in past and current time. Okay, so honestly, I think my 2-hour drive to find a theater Jackie was actually playing at was worth it, because while it does have a couple flaws, I still really enjoyed it overall. This film rests almost solely on the shoulders of Natalie Portman, and she delivered one of the best and most compelling performances of the year, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she won an Oscar for it. Because if you look back at the winners for Best Lead Actress or Actor really, usually the winner played some sort of character that's in a state of significant grief or trauma in some way, shape, or form. Of course, the performance has to be great too, but Natalie Portman's portrayal of Jackie Kennedy certainly falls under that category, and the character of Jackie Kennedy herself in a time of extreme loss and trauma and grief could only be pulled off by a great actress like Natalie Portman. I think there are a couple things that make this performance exceptional. The first one being the accuracy of the portrayal itself, because after I watched this movie, I thought I should go check out some video of the real Jackie Kennedy and see how accurate Natalie Portman's portrayal was. And I was absolutely blown away by how accurately Natalie Portman replicated Jackie Kennedy's body language, overall demeanor, and rate of speech, and so forth. It's actually pretty scary how close she got to the real deal. Whether you want to call this method acting or whatever else, the bottom line is that Natalie Portman did a fantastic job in the role of Jackie Kennedy, and without such a mesmerizing performance, this film wouldn't be anywhere near as good. This story, sort of like Fences, is one that's told almost entirely through the conversations. You obviously get flashbacks into the actual JFK assassination and all that, but as the title would indicate, this is Jackie's story, and the primary focus is how she's dealing with such a traumatic experience and how she wants to honor her husband's legacy. A pretty good portion of the film is spent watching Jackie converse with a reporter named Theodore H. White, played by Billy Crudup, as he tries to pry her for information for a piece he's writing on her for Life magazine. And these are some of the most enlightening scenes because they give you a sneak peek as to what Jackie Kennedy was like behind closed doors and how she was truly dealing with the grief she was experiencing. So while I will say that the dialogue is very awesomely written, I do want to let you guys know that you need to go into the theater with the right expectations. Like Fences, Jackie is built around the conversations and the drama between the characters. The whole story takes place in a handful of different locations, and that's it. Its primary focus is Jackie's grief and resolve, and not the actual JFK assassination itself. But I also do want to give credit to the filmmakers for delivering a film that feels about as 1963 as you could possibly get in 2016. Something really cool that Jackie as a film offers is a mixture of real historical footage with footage that was shot for the film, and the way in which this footage is blended together is pretty seamless, and it was really cool to experience. Visually, this movie really does a great job of blending 2016 with 1963. The way the film is actually shot is just really cool, and they implement some nice stylistic choices with things like digital grain and the way in which the shots are color graded and even composed and so forth that really help you immerse yourself into this 1960s story. Okay, so there's really only two slight problems I have with this film. The first one is some of the editing choices. Now maybe this was another attempt to replicate 1960s cinema, but there was a lot of times where the filmmakers edit the film so that continuity errors are present. So like two characters will be standing there talking, then in the next shot they're in an entirely different place with no indication as how they got to that point. It's just kind of odd, and I'm sure this was a deliberate artistic decision, but for me it didn't always work. The other thing I didn't always love was how the story is told in a non-linear fashion. Usually I didn't mind it, but there were a few cases where I felt like we were jumping around too much before the previous timeline received its proper closure. So you go from pre-JFK assassination to post, then back to the house in Massachusetts where Jackie talks with the reporter, and back and forth and back and forth, and sometimes I just wish the story would stay in one place for a little bit longer. But overall, I've really enjoyed Jackie. It's a very well done film. I thought it had an incredible performance performance from its lead actress, some very well written and directed conversations, some really cool cinematography, and a beautiful story about dealing with loss and grief. The only two knocks I have on this film are some of the editing choices and the story jumping around between timelines so frequently. I'm still going to give Jackie a 9 out of 10 and recommend that you see this one in theaters if you're looking for a well-acted historical drama film or you just love Natalie Portman's work like I do. So did you guys see Jackie yet? What did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if not, let me know whether you'd be interested in watching this film or not. And as always, if you like this video, click that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for much more content like this. That's all for now though. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.